Welcome back to Storytime Unhinged, where I tell you some of my favorite strange and unusual tales. This tale, like all the others, has many different versions, and in unhinged fashion, you're just getting my favorite. Today's tale is one we've all heard, but I bet when you heard this story, they left out all the sick shit. A clever little Pawn Star, this character loves to make trades, and if you're not careful, you might offer him something that you wish you hadn't.
So how much were you looking to get out of it?
$1,000.
No.
Today's story is Rumpelstiltskin, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. Shit. Picture it, Germany, circa sometime. We meet Helga, a pretty young thing. Her mom had abandoned her and her dad when she was just a little girl. And while her dad deals with that pain by spending every waking minute at the local pub,
I'm a fireball.
Helga deals with the pain by working her life away to put food on the table. And her dad wasn't just a drunk. He was that annoying drunk, falling off the bar stools and telling everybody all these crazy stories that no one believes.
We're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody!
So he comes home one day, and Helga's like,
Oh my God!
"So glad to see you. I'll be getting back to my spinning now." Because that's what she did for a living. You know, spinning like on a loom. A spinstress. Is that a word? Spinderella. She spun yarn. Spun? She spins yarn. So her dad's like, "Wait, I have big news, Olga." And she's like, "Dad, my name is Helga." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, Elvira, I have big news." Because he's drunk. He can't remember her name, so it's funny.
Okay.
"I found you a husband." And she's like, "Dad, I already told you I am not marrying your friend Tim from down the street. He smells like beef jerky."
I smell like beef.
And her dad's like, "Not Tim, the king." And Helga's like, "Go to bed." And he's like, "Nah, dog, for real. He was at the bar and I told him all about you. He's sending a carriage here tonight to pick you up and take you to the castle." And he's all drunk and excited and rushing Helga around to get dressed for her carriage ride. And she's like, "This boy needs rehab." No, no, no. And he gives her a necklace to wear that her mother left behind. And she waits for the carriage, totally annoyed. Only they hear horses. Turns out he wasn't lying. A carriage actually does come to pick Helga up. And she's totally shocked, and she kisses him goodbye and runs off to start her new life. So once she reaches the castle, a guard escorts her inside, and he leads her to a room. And once she's inside this room, she notices there's no throne, there's no king, there's straw everywhere. I just got catfished.
Puts the lotion on its skin. Now!
Well, say it, don't spray it, brother. Dang.
And all of a sudden, the king is behind her for some reason, and he's like, "Oh, so your dad isn't a liar. You're actually pretty," which is a good thing, because I would have hated to have had to kill you both. And Helga's like, "I know, right?" And the king says, "Well, your dad said that you could get all this done in one night, so I'll leave you to it." And Helga's like, "What?" The king's like, "Your dad said that you can spin straw into gold and you can do a room of this size in one night. So, if you expect me to marry you, this room better be filled with gold by morning. Also, if the room isn't filled with gold by morning, you're so dead. You and your dead. You and your dad. You're dead, Dad, if he lied to me." And Helga's like, "Oh, right. Yeah, totally." And once the king leaves, she just breaks down. She's like, "Of course this would happen to me. My dad is hot garbage, which we already knew, and now I get to die because of it. So while she's sobbing and preparing for imminent death, she hears some shuffling behind her.
Shake that.
And there in the corner stood a tiny, strange man with a head half the size of his tiny, strange body. Also, he was dressed to the nines. Suit, top hat on his giant freaking head. So Helga is terrified, and she gets her wits about her though, and she's like, I'm sorry, I thought I was alone. I didn't notice your enormous head. I mean, I didn't know you were here. I'm Helga. What's your name? He says to her, I go by many names. No, he didn't say that. Does the devil say that? Somebody says that. He's gonna say that in this story. Some call me an imp or a gnome, and sometimes even a troll, but I, madam, am a helper, serving those in need in their darkest hours. And Helga thought to herself, what at this point do I have to lose? And she opens up to him. She's like, my dad told the king that I can spin straw into gold, which I cannot. And when he comes back in the morning and sees that I cannot, he's gonna execute me and my dad, which is fair. And the little guy wobbled up to her.
Oh, no.
And he's like, what a pickle you seem to be in. However, you're never gonna believe this. I am a gold weaver from way back. If I spin this straw into gold, what might you offer me in return?
What do we get for $10?
All Helga had was her mother's necklace that her dad gave her, and she handed it over to him. He smiled at her. Nice. I'll have this done in a jiffy. And he did. So Helga wakes to the sound of a door unlocking, and in comes the king with his guards and swords for executing.
We have found the witch, may we burn her?
And the king saw the gold and he was like, oh my god, you actually did it. I totally thought I was gonna have to kill you. And Helga's like, I know, me too. And the king's like, what? And Helga's like, what? And the king's all pumped and high-fiving his guards, and he's like, I ain't saying she's a gold spinner, but she ain't messing with no broke king. I'm a king. Anyhow, good job, girl. Let's get you out of there. And Helga's like, hell yeah, I'm getting married, not executed. Girl, I'm a queen, y'all. And she's following the guards down the hall, and she's like, oh my god, they're taking me to my royal boudoir to adorn my gown for the ceremony. But they weren't. LOL. It was another room, bigger than the last one, filled with straw. Again. And the king is like, look, I just have to be sure, you know what I mean? I'm sure you understand. And anyway, if you don't, I'll kill you. So get to work there, Helen. And Helga fell to the floor and wept. Why can't anyone get my name right? She didn't say that, though I'm sure she was thinking it. And she starts crying out for the strange little guy that helped her before. And just then, she notices two beady little eyes staring at her from a pile of straw. It was him. And he was wearing her mother's necklace. And he said, I had a feeling you might need me again. What do you have for me this time?
We haven't discussed the subject of payment. You can't get something for nothing, you know.
And Helga looked around and shook her head. I don't have anything else, man. So the imp thought with his enlarged noggin, if I do this for you this time, you'll be queen, right? And Helga's like, oh my god, yes, I will be queen, and then I can give you anything you want. Name your price. I can get you jewels, I can get you money, I can get you some type of plastic surgery to make you not look so weird. And the imp said, rude. Anyhow, in that case, my price is simple. I'll have your firstborn. And Helga's like, what? And he's like, yeah, your firstborn. That's my price. I want your firstborn.
I'm not asking much. Just a token, really, a trifle.
And Helga's like, what are you talking about, you weird little freak? You can't have my kid. And what do you want with a baby anyhow? I'm offering you anything in the world. And the imp says, you just watched me spin straw into gold. Clearly I'm not hard up for riches. You'll give me that baby or there's no deal.
This child's life is now in jeopardy. Unfit mother, give me this baby.
Helga shrugged. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. You can have my baby. So the imp was like, all right, tight. And he spun the straw into gold again. So the next morning the king comes in and he sees the room full of gold again.
I love gold.
He slaps Helga on the back and he's like, all right, kid, seems like you're the real deal. Let's get hitched. And they did. And Helga settled into her new life as queen and all was right in the world. Until, of course, she got pregnant.
I'm pregnant. My daughter's a tramp. My daughter's a tramp. My daughter's a tramp!
And the deal that she had made with that awful little man was all she could think about. And when she went into labor, the imp loomed over her in the castle rafters, waiting for his due.
I bet a fiddle of gold against your soul because I think I'm better than you.
The well-tailored tiny man jumped down from the rafters onto her bed, and he's like, hand him over. And she's like, please, you freaking weirdo. Anything else, please, anything else, do not take my baby.
Oh, don't take my baby away! Oh, please!
If you love us so much, how come you don't clean up around here once in a while?
I do clean up, sir.
And the imp paced back and forth. Which I don't even know why he's considering anything. She made a deal. I mean, he should just take the baby. Not that I condone tiny imps taking children, but you made the deal. Anyhow, he says, all right, I'll let you keep the kid if you can guess my name. Interesting game. He says, I'll give you 3 guesses for 3 nights. And she starts blurting out names. Greg?
Nope.
No. Peter?
Nope.
Bobby?
Here's the story.
The imp laughed. He loved the Brady Bunch. But she was wrong. And he jumped from her bed to the window and he's like, you are never gonna guess my name. I'll see you tomorrow. So Helga, clutching her kid, is like, bro, what am I gonna do? I am so sorry that I promised you to this guy, but we have to come up with a plan. And since the baby lacked the ability to speak, he really wasn't any help. And when the imp came back the next night, Helga gave 3 more guesses. And they were just as stupid as the first 3. Michelangelo? Raphael? Donatello? He giggled at Helga. What an idiot. Clearly he was not a turtle nor a teenager. He said, girl, you only got 3 guesses left and the boy is mine. Boy is mine. And with that, he jumped out the window. Not to like his death. He just does this for dramatic effect. Helga had a plan though this time, and she jumped out the window after him, following behind him carefully. She crept after him silently through the woods, and he led her to his home, which was a pretty dope encampment in the side of this ravine. And Helga was pretty impressed with his hobbit house. But then she noticed something. Something that sounded like the muffled cries of babies. She climbed down into the ravine and peeked inside his little house. And there she saw him, sitting at a spinning wheel with what on his lap? A child.
A child. No.
He lifts a razor to the child, and Helga is watching on in horror, only to see him shave the baby's head. And he said to the child, your hair will make a great accessory for my suit.
Bruh.
I didn't write it. So Helga's relieved that all he did was give this baby a fade. But then she heard the cries again. And they weren't coming from this particularly fresh-cut baby. They were coming from a barrel. And the imp popped the lid on the barrel, and right away all these tiny little baby hands shoot up and there's cries filling the air. And he dumped the baby that had been sitting on his lap into the barrel with all these other babies. a barrel of babies. And then he started singing like you do. And the song went, only the strong survive the barrel. And if you do, they'll call you Rumpelstiltskin too. Slay. Absolute banger. Also, how lucky for Helga that he would disclose his name in this song that he had written. It all totally makes sense. So anyway, now she has his name and 3 more guesses. So she runs back to the castle to wait for him. And he comes back the next night and he's wearing a brand new suit, which she is way less impressed by now that she knows it's made of baby hair. And she wagered 2 new guesses for his name. Finkel? No. Einhorn? And she feigned defeat and laid back in her chair. Come on, man. I am never gonna be able to guess that your name is Rumpelstiltskin.
You know my name. Rumpelstiltskin!
And the imp gets pissed. He starts shaking violently and making outrageous claims like the devil must have told her his true name, because why not? So he's flipping out in a rage and he stomps his foot so hard that his foot flies through the floor and gets stuck. And he's hollering and yanking on it, trying to rip it back up through the floor, and he rips his leg off. In fact, he rips his whole body in half, because that's something that happens. And so there he is, dismembered, laying in a pool of blood in his brand new baby hair suit. So Helga calls for the guards and she tells them all about the barrel babies because she wants to rescue them so that they don't become little junior Rumpelmints. And they all live happily ever after. I don't know what the hell this story is about. Why were the babies in the barrel? Was it just so he could make suits out of their hair and then that they might turn into junior Rumpelmints? I don't get it. I do not understand this story. I don't know what the moral is. Honor the deals that you make? But how is that the moral? Because she didn't. And now she's living life high on the hog. She beat the system. Is that the moral? Be smart? Chase after creatures into the night and find their homes? That can't be it. Well, I don't know. You let me know if you have any idea what the hell this story is. Anyhow, if you liked it, feel free to subscribe, like, share, and join me next time for more Storytime Unhinged. Oh my god, why can you not back your car up? Rev your engine. That's better. It's better for me when you rev your engine. Welcome back to Strange. No. They'll call you Rumpelstiltskin too. So the imp comes back the next night and Helga gives her 3 next wishes. What? Is this fucking Aladdin?